This video is sponsored by Cake Wallet, the easiest open source wallet to store Bitcoin, Monero, and Litecoin securely on mobile and desktop devices. When buying, selling, and exchanging crypto or trading for gift cards, Cake Wallet ensures privacy and security, giving you the keys to your coins. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Miss Teen Crypto Show. I'm your host, Randi Hipper, here today on a lovely Thursday, and we're going to dive into our special guest today. But right before we do that, make sure if you haven't yet, please smash the like, subscribe, share the stream out with friends so more people know about Cake Wallet, our special guest, and about the meaning of self-custody. How can you secure your Bitcoin and your crypto? We're going to unpack all of that today. So hi to everyone in the chat. It is great to see you guys. We're going to talk to our very special guest, the founder of Cake Wallet, Vik Sharma. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on.
Of
You're a
course.
real pro. I love it.
Thank you. You know I love what I do, Vik. You've been following
Of
me since
course.
the start. Cake Wallet was actually the first person to give me a gift in crypto. I got a Cake Wallet t-shirt back in 2020. So if you guys do happen to scroll way back in my Twitter to basically, or X, from when I first started, you'll be able to see some videos of me in a Cake Wallet t-shirt. So I've known Cake Wallet and the team for a really long time. You've always been consistent. You're open source, which I love. We're going to dive into that a little bit later, but I want to know more about you. And shout out to the super chat. I appreciate that. I want to talk about you, Vik. Let's dive back into when you were younger. What was a teenage Vik like? What were you into at the time?
Oh, wow. That's that's a pretty broad question, but it's a good question. I guess I'll relate it to coding, right? I always say I'm not technical, I'm not a coder, and which I'm not. I think the last time I did any sort of coding was in 1992. Yeah, a long time ago. I'm old.
Wow.
Um, but in the 80s, I was doing a lot of coding. I was ignoring my actual schoolwork and not getting good grades and spending more time at the library and learning how to code. I taught myself assembly language, even machine language, and Basic was the language back then. I had an Apple IIc. So yeah, I mean, even though I never really had any formal training until college, and then went off to college and actually started out off as a computer science major.
Oh,
And I
wow.
switched, yeah, I started computer science. And, there was really no 1988. You weren't doing much stuff with the internet. You were just pretty much on your computer. And I wanted to be more hands-on, so I switched to electrical engineering.
Ooh.
And probably, I mean, looking back, I wish, who knew the IT world's going to change so much from like 2 years later, starting 1990, everything changed. But yeah, I mean, electrical engineering, you still had, you're still doing a lot of coding. There's still a lot of C and C plus back then. So some coding, I mean, you just kind of had to know it. But then when I graduated, I went right into the steel industry with the family business with my dad.
So you were
Um,
coding in high school?
yeah, yeah, on an Apple IIc. I was before that, I had the Atari, and they're like, "Oh, these games are cool." Then when I got the Apple IIc, I was like, "Oh, wow, I can make my own games." So,
Oh.
started making all these little silly games and database applications for my dad's business. And then even after college, I graduated, went in the steel industry with that, but still, I held on to some coding and made some applications which were useful for us, but then that was it. Then I had to run the company and move forward and be in
Wow.
steel. Yeah,
And be in steel. Well, you have to have
yeah,
like a steel like mindset to be able to like have that self-discipline of teaching yourself code, especially at a time where computers weren't even popular. What were you really
right.
doing on your computer at the time? That's what I want to know. What were you actually doing? Because like even coding games is really interesting. I've seen a lot of relationships where people that are into technology, into coding, kind of got into it because of video games because it was kind of easy to break down and maybe like reverse engineer. Is that correct?
Yeah. So in the 80s, I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, what you did in the 80s was, yeah, there was no internet connection, right? There was no internet. We had a modem, a 300 baud modem, very
What's a
slow. And
modem?
a modem, it's a modulator demodulator. it's what's it's what's helping you connect to the internet. It's
Gotcha.
built nowadays it's all built into your computer, but but in the old days you actually had a separate box which sat next to your computer and you plugged in your phone line
Oh,
into it.
I
Yeah.
think I know. I think I know of it. I think if I Googled it and I saw a picture, that would make a lot more
Yeah.
sense. So what were you doing in terms of like games on your computer?
Yeah, just silly little war games and shooting games where you're shooting tanks or shooting little ships, just just dumb stuff like that. But things really changed. Have you heard of bulletin boards?
Like little like messaging forum type things?
Yeah. By the way, you're really getting me excited on this. No other show I've been on, the host asked me these questions, so I'm glad you're interested.
Of course, this is
So
all about you, Vic.
yeah, so we had these things called bulletin boards, which were pretty much run. So I grew up in Pittsburgh, so that's my steel background. It's steel is in my veins, right? I mean, you drink the water in Pittsburgh and you get steel in your veins. Sorry, dumb joke. So, so we had these things called bulletin boards, which were mostly run by college students, like at University of Pittsburgh or Carnegie Mellon, um, and there were these centralized bulletin board is the best description, where you actually log in, you have a username and login. It's all text based, and you have different rooms, or it's all text based, so it was all number based. And it was kind of similar to the way it is today. You could have news, you can have jokes, you can have topics that people want to discuss, auto repair, whatever your interest is in. But you always had to, you could go to one bulletin board and actually disconnect, log on, disconnect from your phone, and then dial into another bulletin board or dial into a third bulletin board. And I think people just did it out of enthusiasm. They were just enthusiasts because nobody was making money. There was no money being exchanged. It was just computer nerds connecting to each other and sharing information. So you share code, you would share games, there was meetups. I used to go to I'm such a nerd.
I love this
And
so much.
when I was like 14, 15, I used to make my mom drive me to Penn State because Penn State had an Apple's group, Apple Computer Group,
Wow.
and like they had this big like a gymnasium basically, and people had tables set up with rows of discs, and you would share actual discs. You would trade discs. Like I have this game, I'll give you that game. I have this application, I'll give you that application.
Wow.
Um, and I think I was the only high school kid at a college event, and I used to go every Sunday like the big nerd that I am. So, yeah,
That is
so
amazing. That's like
yeah,
it's like pre-X. It's like the beginning of like the metaverse was like those rooms where it's just text
yeah,
based and you're just like going in like whatever niche you want and then you're
yeah,
meeting up and trading physical discs. Like this was like peer-to-peer exchanging of like
exactly.
information.
Yep, yep, it was
Wow.
amazing. Yeah,
That's super
and
interesting. Keep going.
yeah. So then I went off to college. I went to Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio, for engineering, and something very interesting happened there. Um,
Do share.
in nine, yeah, in 1990, and by the way, Case Western was the second university in the country to have this. I think the first was University of Berkeley, and then Case Western in Ohio. Can you imagine? So in every dorm room, they put in a fiber optic connection for
Oh.
and two sets, because you had a roommate, right? Like a typical dorm room with the beds on the side. And they put in fiber optic connections, and people went out and bought, PCs, but I was an Apple guy, so I bought a Mac, and you had a university technician come in and install this special card in your computer, a modem type of thing, and we would plug the fiber optic right in there. I mean, it was pretty freaking advanced for 1990, and and it just took off. I mean, the whole um, campus, everybody was sitting in their rooms and chatting with each other, and it was all text based. It was all text based, except for Mac. One of my I wouldn't say friends, but one of my classmates took this instant messenger type app from Berkeley and modified it to work on the Case Western campus, and we were doing instant messaging in a graphical user interface in 1990. I mean, it was really amazing. So yeah, I
Wow.
probably should have stayed in computer science.
That was like the Zuckerberg kind of story
Yeah,
almost, where
it's
he
great.
created the
It's
app and then
awesome.
they were all messaging college students. So you were like basically
Yeah.
DMing before DMs were a thing. Like, so
Oh, it's crazy.
was
And you could
this
find everybody. Everybody was on, you could, anyone that was online right then. There was no privacy. You could see who's on and start chatting with them. It was crazy.
that
Fun times. It was good.
that's really wild. So like was this all like within your college, or was that like for anyone that had internet at the
No,
time?
just so the instant messaging is just campus wide. It didn't
Yeah.
go outside to connect to.
That's so
But we
cool.
had email. We had this thing called email, and I mean, I got to give it up to the university. They definitely saw the future, and right away, all the professors, especially in engineering classes, they said, "We're only going to communicate by email moving forward." You had to learn. You had to you had to log on. You had to learn how to use it. So it's pretty exciting.
Wow. So they were hopped on email because usually colleges are very slow to pick up new technology. They're very like,
Oh
oh, we're
no.
gonna wait until like it works out type thing some places, but it seems like you guys like in Ohio were just jumping in and just saying we're gonna
Exactly.
email.
Exactly.
What so
Yeah.
did you feel like compared like when you stepped out of your school and did other people have email? When did you see the internet start to like kind of catch fire or kind of develop to the point where it was usable for most people?
Yeah, I think it all happened because I graduated in 93, and that's when people started getting dial-ups, and those, AOL discs started to go out, and it was a big buzz, this internet thing, and ISPs, internet service providers, started popping up, small mom and pop shops. I even looked at it. I said, I'm not going to do steel, and I said, I'm going to start an ISP. And again, hindsight 2020, I should have done it. And all these dial-up ISPs came in, and every city in America had like these, I hate to say it, mom and pop ISPs, locally owned ISPs, and people used to dial in, and they would have a telnet connection to some backbone somewhere, and that's how it grew. And then AOL came about, and kind of, what Starbucks did to coffee, what McDonald's did to burger, AOL did to these ISPs, these mom and pop ISPs.
Wow.
And AOL was the big thing. And that's for a long time, everybody thought AOL is internet, but AOL was a skin, and then you can go onto the internet through AOL.
Whoa, I didn't think AOL had that big of an effect on the adoption of the
Massive,
internet because I just
massive.
remember like when I was younger, some people like my like family members had AOL addresses and I was
Yeah,
like, all right. But that's all I know about it. So they really gave like a lot of like internet infrastructure and kind of made the adoption spread. It was like that one product that really kind of put the internet on the map, do you think?
yeah, definitely, definitely. I think AOL definitely made it very user friendly, made it less intimidating. Before AOL, the internet, and before Netscape, internet was all text based. Um, it was very intimidating to a regular person. But AOL, along with Netscape and even AOL's browser, just made things super easy.
Wow. So that
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of reminds me of crypto where sometimes like you just need that product that makes things easy. And that's why I loved
Yeah.
Cake Wallet ever since the start because
Hmm.
you're making self-custody easy. You're making something that looks pretty. And I know that sounds like really like dumb, but like you have to have something that's simple, that's pretty, that okay, click here, do this there, and it's done simple where you don't have to go through all these steps. So it seems like AOL was that thing for the internet.
Ex
So going
hmm
forward, what was the move from there? Like AOL, you saw all these ISPs going out. When did
hmm
like it get even more simple? Like what was the next step? Because I know like Mac really early was like just a huge box. Like it was
Yeah.
just humongous. And now you have MacBooks that are literally thinner than my keyboard. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the use came after dial-ups. Well, when the browser came out, that changed everything. With
like
um,
searching.
Mo- Mozilla. Mozilla was the original first browser, right? Um,
Mozilla.
Mozilla.
I remember Firefox.
Yeah, well, this is so Mozilla's Firefox is based on Mozilla. So then
Ah,
Netscape came out, Netscape did their IPO, and that was like the biggest tech IPO ever when Netscape did that. So I think having a graphical user interface, like Netscape,
yeah.
you've heard of Netscape, right?
I've heard of it too, and I know like some people like I guess on my show actually had like things to do with Netscape and bringing it. So weren't
Yeah.
they in charge of like the HTTP like part of like searching?
No, HTTP was already a part of, yeah, that I don't know. That I can't answer. Now I'm thinking back and like
So
probably
Nets
somebody listening would know.
so
Yeah. But
Netscape
Netscape
really
was
brought
just a
it.
browser. It was software. Yeah, it was a browser
Wow. So that really I
for the World Wide Web. Yeah.
and then the so that was before like www dot.
It's no, as I understand, and I could be wrong, somebody's probably listening going to be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. As I understand, to view the World Wide Web, you needed a browser, or you could do it without a browser, but the browser made it, I don't know, give you a graphical
Easier.
unit interface. I'm not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about that. The
So
the full technicalities, I don't remember. Yeah.
so you entered the steel industry, you see all of these
Okay.
things popping off, and what was like, like I know you still stayed in tune with tech. What were you still paying attention to while you were kind of trying to make it in the steel industry as well with your family business?
Yeah. So Cakewell wasn't the first IT related venture. In late 90s, I did have IT services firm.
Really?
So yeah, we had about 100 people. It was called Eon Net. Um, and it was really great. Right before the year 2000, we were basically a network service company. We were helping companies install Wi-Fi and get connected because before that, everything was wired. So every office needed, an RJ45 connection. And then Wi-Fi came on, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't plug and play. So you actually needed a service company to come in and set you up and get the routers and blah blah blah. Um,
Was it
so
like
that was fun.
what were like routers like? What was it like to do that in the beginning? Was it like a bunch of boxes that you needed to set up and like, kind of get in? Because I know like landlines, right? Like you just see landlines, you plug in the little wire and you're pretty much good
Yeah,
from there like now modernly, but I picture before that it was a lot more
yeah.
difficult.
No, it didn't look. It didn't. I mean, the actual hardware you made, it didn't look much different than what it is today. But I think even by that time, I mean, that was 97, 98. I was getting more and more distant from the technology of it and just
Yeah.
having an interest in the business, interest in doing it. But yeah, I so then sold that company in right after 9/11. Unfortunately, business went down, everything went down. So I ended up selling to a local competitor, um, which was good. I think we were down to about 50 employees, and we sold out. It was a good sale. All the employees got a job, so that turned out well.
That's good.
But it was a fun time. We went from like 2 employees to 100 employees in a year. It was really
Wow.
awesome. Yeah,
That's really
because
good.
people were just hungry for connectivity, for Wi-Fi, for getting all the employees up to speed on their computers and having everyone connected and sharing data. So yeah,
This is so interesting because I was even talking to Scott Carney on my show as well, and he was talking about how he was in these kind of chat rooms early on because a lot of people weren't on the internet, and he was looking at charts and just looking at all of this like open forum. And do you think maybe tech was even brought to light, or like technology kind of moved faster, or the internet moved faster because of all these chat rooms, because it was kind of like the connectivity of people, like people loved sharing information with each other?
yeah, definitely. I think humans in general just want to connect and be heard and want to listen and want to learn. So I think if computers never were able to connect to each other, I don't think they'd probably remain as corporate tools or business tools. But I think the connectivity is what's driven everything.
I agree. And that's why
Yeah.
people love Bitcoin too, because you're able to connect from one person to another no matter where you are in the world. So you staying in the tech world, kind of sitting with your steel company, becoming the president, really being a higher up over there. It must be a lot to also kind of fall into crypto while you're so focused on running your company. So how did you find Bitcoin and when did you find
Yeah.
Bitcoin?
I first heard about it maybe in 2011, 2012,
Woo!
somewhere in that.
That's
And it
crazy.
was, I think 2011, 2012, the steel business was great. And it was, I didn't have time. And it's like in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, I got to look into that. I got to look into that. And then 2013, when I moved to New York from Florida, um, that's when I really got into it. And just the steel industries was really, really slow. So I had like not much to do. So I was just sitting in my office and watching YouTube videos. And I don't know if it's still there. The Bitcoin Center near Wall Street
I don't think it's there
um,
anymore.
is not there anymore. So I started going to all the events in the evening and just listening to presentations and talking to people. Did that probably for a few months, and I just bought into it. Bitcoin just clicked for me. I was like, okay, this is pretty freaking amazing, and just tried to learn as much as possible. All through YouTube. I gotta give YouTube the credit, right?
Go YouTube.
Yeah,
Really
um,
teaches you everything.
yeah, yeah, and Reddit at that time, the Bitcoin subreddit, people were super helpful. Anything you need help with, and it was really nice. So that was 2013, and I just started buying Bitcoin and started mining as well. I bought a couple of ASIC miners off of. I don't know if you ever saw my tweet. I tweeted some screenshots that I found from like 2014 or something um, from my miner, like the mining panel, whatever the miners panel, whatever you call it. Um, yeah, I started mining. Is generating zero point 0.2 Bitcoin a day for me at that time. Bitcoin was, I think,
What?
$200. Yeah, that was crazy. So
Wow.
yeah, and I thought I got in late. I thought, okay, I'm late. I've missed the boat, and then Bitcoin went to $1,000. I'm like, oh, I really missed it. Then it went back down to $200, and then I was like, okay, there's still some room here.
Wow, that's
So
extremely early. 2013. So, even wallets weren't even a thing yet. The standards for creating seed phrases, it just wasn't even an option at the time. So, what was it like to mine so early in Bitcoin and actually be your own bank, take self custody? What was that like?
yeah, I mean, wallet-wise, I just used the Bitcoin Core. Their desktop wallet is a
Yep.
nice little graphical user interface wallet, which is super easy. And even, I mean, this space advanced and evolved so quickly that even by 2014, the mining software was so easy. I think the guy who sold me the two miners on eBay helped me set it up, and it just like took 10 minutes, and I was good to go. And every day I wake up and there's an extra zero point 0.2 Bitcoin in my wallet. It was wonderful.
Wow. And were there faucets?
Yeah.
Were you finding faucets at the time, or those were kind of over the Bitcoin faucets?
So I would try everything because I just wanted to see everything you could do with Bitcoin. So
Yeah.
I think the faucets, I might have just went to a website just to see what it is, but
Hmm.
you would get so little, like 0.0000001 after like 2 days. I was like, this is silly. So
Yeah.
I didn't do the faucets. I mean, I tried it out. I didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean hindsight, point oh 0.01 Bitcoin is still a lot
Yeah.
of money now. I think point oh 0.01 is what, like $300, maybe a little less because of the dip today.
Yeah.
But point oh 0.01 Bitcoin is still a lot of money, but looking hindsight, you would you have ever guessed Bitcoin is near where it is now? Like what is it, 27K today? We took a 28K that we took a
Big.
dip down to today.
Yeah.
Yikes. But
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? Did you ever imagine it going it this far with Bitcoin?
No, I mean, even back then, on Reddit, people used to say this coin's going to 1 million, and it was like $187, and people, and
Oh,
so there were people who really believed it back then, that saw it and said this is gonna go to $1 million, and I wanted to believe it, but it was such a new, fresh technology that it was hard. I mean, even though I got it and I thought this was great, it's going to be the future. But with new technology, you never know if it's going to get adopted, if people are going to understand it, if people are going to follow it. And what you just mentioned earlier, just about making it user friendly, um, and when we talk about Cake Wallet, that was the goal of Cake Wallet, but to make things user friendly. I mean, what use is technology if people can't use it? If only
Exactly.
like a small subset of nerds, techie people, and I mean nerds. I
No, I
hope I'm
love my
called a
nerds.
nerd.
I say it all the time. I love my nerds. I'm a nerd too, and I'm
Yeah,
proud.
exactly. Yeah, I say that in a positive light. Um, what good is technology if you can't use it? And Bitcoin was hard to use. If you had to have some technical knowledge or some computer savviness, to use it. But if you really, I think it was just more intimidation. I think if people really just downloaded the Bitcoin Core at that time and just freaking turned it on, they would see how easy it is.
Yeah, I think that's the case with a lot of things. It's just like getting people
Yeah,
to that step where it's like, okay, let me download the core or let me download that wallet today. It's just, okay, they have to want to get it. They're going to want to like be involved with Bitcoin. So it's a little
right,
bit of a step. And that's why I think like we'll get to that point in the future where you'll have digital wallets, you'll have digital cryptocurrencies, like obviously in your everyday life, whether that's a coupon, and you're just not going to know it's an NFT. You're not going to know it's cryptocurrency. We just
right.
have to get to that point where it's just so easy and seamless. I do think we're pretty close to that point, especially with Cake Wallet. It's a place where you are like having self custody. You're able to spend your favorite crypto, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Monero at the stores. So we need things like that. I think this is a catalyst for adoption. I talk about it a lot on my show. So I want to talk about like the creation of Cake Wallet and like how you eventually got to that point where it's 2013, 2014. You're mining Bitcoin, you're into this stuff, but you're also busy with your other business. What got you to that point where you're like, all right, I'm staying in Bitcoin and I want to like create in this space and do something?
Yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. I was buying Bitcoin. I was mining. I was like everybody else. I mean, these were just like little tokens. You didn't see it as 100% as money. So doing a lot of crazy stuff online, like gambling. I think everybody was on those dice sites and trying to, make more money. I did really well on those, by the way. So,
Go off, Vic.
so, yeah, so in like 2016, to end of 2016 or 2017, and I think your viewers probably haven't heard this story, but I think everybody in the Monero world is probably tired of hearing this story, but I'll tell it anyway
Please do.
for your viewers. So like 2016, 2017, I thought, okay, this is fun. I want to do more with Bitcoin. I actually want to use it for commerce. I want to buy something with it. So I'm like, let's see what this darknet markets are all about. So I logged on to, uh, and I think the last time we talked about it, I couldn't remember the name, but I remember the name that a thing called Alpha Bay.
uh,
Do you remember that?
no, I don't.
Yeah, that was maybe end of 16, early 17, and I decided to buy antibiotics using Bitcoin,
Oh,
and yeah, nothing crazy. I mean, buying antibiotics probably still illegal, but not as crazy as buying other stuff. And immediately, I sent the Bitcoin from my Coinbase wallet, and immediately Coinbase canceled my account. They said you have violated our terms. We've closed your account. Move your shit, basically.
yeah.
So I was thinking, how the heck did they know? I didn't understand the transparent nature of Bitcoin, and even back then they were doing chain analysis, I guess. And I thought, what the heck? So, but at the same time, I saw in Alphabet there's another coin called Monero, and I thought, okay, why Monero? Why not Ethereum? Why not Litecoin? So Cake Wallet initially started off as a wallet for Monero, and
Mm-hmm.
then and we were the first open source Monero wallet for the iPhone on the App Store. So,
Beautiful.
and then we launched in 2018. Then in 2019 we added Bitcoin, and then it really took off, I have to say.
Yeah, just being a little bit more inclusive. But I think why
Yeah.
like Monero? What's something that stuck out to you about Monero right away? Because I know like some people know about Monero, but if you want to dive into
Yeah.
it and give people a little bit of a synopsis of why you like it and everything like that.
Yeah, sure. So what got me in trouble with Coinbase is why I like Monero. And that's probably why that was the only other coin that was on Alphabet on this darknet market at that time. Not Ethereum, not Litecoin, or whatever else was big that day. Is the privacy nature and the fungibility nature of Monero. Um, Monero is a very interesting coin, and there's a lot of great minds behind it that are always developing. It's always improving. So Monero basically it hides the sender, the receiver, and the amount transacted. So if I give you a transaction ID of a Monero transaction and you go to the Block Explorer, you'll see that it happened. You'll see the time that it happened, but that's all. You can't see anything else about it. Um, so, through the magic of cryptography, and it goes beyond, I mean, these are like post-grad level, even though some of them didn't do post-grad, but they're doing post-grad level work, and they're just doing amazing stuff in cryptography. So that's why I got into Monero because, you know, and it's, privacy is just not for doing, illegal things. You want to hide it. It could be used, you're a political prisoner or you're a refugee or whatever, or you're a whistleblower, and you want some privacy, some financial privacy. So Monero provides that. But it's not only that. Privacy and fungibility are two sides of the same coin.
Mm.
So to have privacy, you're going to have fungibility. If you have fungibility, you're going to have privacy. Um, and we can argue about. I mean, I don't know. People don't have to agree. I mean, people talk about tainted Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Is Bitcoin fungible? And that argument is still going on today, right?
Yep.
Would somebody pay more for a freshly mined Bitcoin? Would somebody pay more for a Bitcoin that was owned by Elon Musk? Would somebody pay less for a Bitcoin that was related to a illicit activity? And if the answer is yes to any of those questions, then you got to wonder, is Bitcoin fungible?
Ooh.
So that's what drove me to Monero.
It's a very spicy topic. Guys, write in the chat if you
Yeah.
think Bitcoin is fungible or non-fungible. I would like to see all of your replies there. I do think that we need privacy, and I think that what you said is right. I mean, even if you look at certain protests that have happened, and just because maybe the government of that country thought you were associated with said protest, then they would just shut down your bank account. Then you were literally starving because you don't have money anymore. So things like Monero and even Litecoin MWeb that have that fungibility, have that privacy, I think is
100%.
genuinely going to save lives. So I think always technology could be used for good. It could be used for bad. That's like, saying that, the banks are perfect. Like, they're opening credit card accounts with your name and you're not giving
Right.
consent. So, there's good people in the banking industry and there's bad people in the banking industry. There's going to be people that use the technology for good or bad, but I do think we
Yeah.
need fungibility, we need privacy. It's essential, and I think it goes with the idea of cash. I mean, you have cash. If I'm with you, Vic, and I hand you a $1 bill, no one knows who gave you the dollar bill. No one knows how much was transacted. It's private. So we do need privacy. Everyday transactions, It doesn't matter what it is. Let's say you're at Dunkin' Donuts, you're buying a fresh iced coffee and a chocolate croissant in the morning. Do you want to spend maybe, of course we want to spend our crypto, but if you spend something like Bitcoin and then they go back and look at your wallet because they see when you transacted, how much you transacted, then they know how much you've spent in the past, where it's gone, and how much you currently have. So I do think that privacy, it goes for everything. You don't want
Yep.
all of your information out there all the time. So I do think that
Exactly.
and I was even telling you about this when we met last week, that I do think when Bitcoin becomes more mainstream and people are getting more familiar with digital currency, they're going to talk about these issues where they're like, oh, okay, now I'm in this digital space. I understand what Bitcoin is. I understand that it's transparent to the 100%. now what's something where we could go back to that cash aspect of things, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Mm-hmm.
really essential. So I like how you put that. I really do.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
when you
Thank you.
have, of course, when you have Cake Wallet now, you're adding Bitcoin. I know you added Litecoin. So why did you add Litecoin, and why did you add Ethereum recently, and why are you continuously adding to Cake Wallet, not just keeping it for Monero?
So initially, Bitcoin was added because actually a lot of people were using Cake Wallet to convert from Bitcoin to Monero.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you would need an external wallet. Uh, you know, I think at that time, right before we launched Cake Wallet, I used to use Bread Wallet, which I think is now BRD. I love that. It was a great wallet for Bitcoin. Um, so initially, it was just made for that purpose. It was made for allowing people to hold on to their Bitcoin and convert to Monero, or the other way around, because a lot of Monero people are paying for things online, or paying for things that require Bitcoin. And so you can set up a automatic payment, like not automatic payment, or automatic conversion. Say, okay, I want to pay in Monero, but I want the receiver to receive it in Bitcoin. You can do that in Cake Wallet.
That's
Or
so awesome.
I want to pay in Litecoin, but I want this person to receive Ethereum. You can do that in Cake Wallet. So initially it was done. Initially, it was done for that reason. But as we started to see, a lot of people started, a lot of Bitcoiners started to use Cake Wallet purely for Bitcoin, um, and hopefully some of them converted to Monero. Um, so so we separated it out. We launched Monero.com, which is a Monero only wallet, because just like Bitcoin world, there's purists and maxis.
Yeah,
In Monero, there's purists that won't touch anything except Monero. So we made a Monero only wallet, and Cake Wallet became more of a multi-coin wallet. Having said that, we do prioritize Monero still, um,
of course.
but it is a multi-coin wallet.
And I love that too because you also chose to go open source. Like you said, you were the first
Mhm.
Monero wallet to go open source, probably one of the first wallets, period, to go open source. Why did you choose to become open source? Because some people say it's an attack vector or that you should be private. Why choose to be open source and let everyone know what's going on there?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know what open source meant when we launched Cake. I
Ironic.
really did. Yeah, I really didn't know what it meant. We launched as closed source, but since I didn't know what open source was, we didn't say, oh, here's a closed source app. Only after we launched, the Monero community started giving feedback saying, hey, you need to go open source. And I used to think open source just means you're using other open source code that's out there.
Yeah.
And I was corrected very quickly,
Of
very
course.
harshly in some ways. Um, and a guy, a good friend, we've become very good friends. He reached out to me and taught me all about open source. And within 2 weeks of launching, we launched again as open source.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah, yeah. So is there a risk, or you said an attack vector? I don't think so, because
Me neither.
the code that's going to be merged is reviewed by our team. So we're not just going to automatically merge something that somebody has submitted. It's still reviewed by the Cake Wallet team. Um, so there's advantages of going open source, especially if you were one of the first people to do it, especially for Monero. And I want the Monero ecosystem to grow. I want the community to grow. So, and that's happened. People have used our code and made other wallets and made other things with our code. So, and in the end, it helped us. It helped, the growth of Cake Wallet. And open source, what I also like about open source, since people can copy your code or learn from it, or be inspired by it, is it keeps you on your toes.
It
You got to
does.
keep inventing. You got to be a step ahead. You got to be always thinking, what can we do that nobody else is doing? What do people need? Um, So yeah,
And people need
it's
cake pay. So cake
yeah.
pay is something that I love. If you guys haven't seen, I did a video on it. So you can scroll down my video section here on YouTube and check it out. Went to my favorite stores, bought my favorite things, and I bought some soap. I was smelling good by the end of the day because I was able to spend my Bitcoin through cake pay. Do you want to talk about cake pay? And because you keep saying you have to innovate, you got to stay on top of your game. Cake pay is like top tier game right here. So what is
Yeah.
cake pay? How can people access it? What does it do?
Yeah. So I'll just step back a little bit.
Yeah.
So to get into crypto, first people needed a on ramp. People are holding on to money. They need to convert that to crypto. So I think that was the first step. That was the first step we did, and we partners with other companies like MoonPay and Wire, and now we're working with an aggregator that has MoonPay type companies in there. So that gave people an on ramp to buy crypto using their debit card and or credit card, and that's been quite successful. And with one of the same companies, MoonPay, actually we had a conference call with them this morning. We have an off ramp. You can actually sell your crypto and get money straight into your bank account right through Cake Wallet. So we have an on ramp, you have an off ramp, and a lot of our users, so you have to think of other ways to off ramp crypto, and gift cards and debit cards seem to be the natural fit for crypto. So so the feature you're specifically talking about has been disabled because that partner of ours decided to get out of crypto. But we still have the web version at cakepay.com, where you can buy gift cards and debit cards, like MasterCard, Visa,
That's awesome.
for your crypto. So you can spend your Monero, you can spend your Bitcoin. Those two only right now. You can spend those two and buy a MasterCard. You can buy an Amazon gift card. You can buy Uber. You can buy Home Depot. There's a bunch of them on there. And that's been quite successful. I mean, when the services went down because our partner pulled out a couple weeks ago, maybe more than a month now, I guess. I was shocked at the amount of messages I got. When is CakePay coming back? When I didn't realize it was so important to people. So it it seems like there's people out there earning in crypto and they need a way to spend it, and to spend it with a MasterCard seems to be the easiest way.
I agree. I absolutely
Yeah,
love the feature. I think it's great for adoption, and I think it just incentivizes people to want to spend crypto more and use crypto as currency, which is why we're here,
right,
guys. All this
right.
speculation. Like, let's actually spend our crypto, which is why I'm so bullish on it, why I'm so excited about it. And I just think it's something that people, like you said, people need. Create something that people need that makes their lives easier. That's cake pay. So moving forward, what, we're able to go on cake pay web, we're able to fully set up and also be our own bank at the same time, and you don't have to KYC. I think all you need is an email, right?
Right, right, exactly.
I
All you
think
need is
it's
an email.
perfect. And
Yep.
with what are like some safety features that you have associated with Cake Wallet as well to kind of just hunker down on no one being able to access your wallet? I know we were discussing that as well earlier last week.
Yeah, so we put in a pretty good feature, and and honestly, it's not as good as a hardware wallet. If you get a Ledger or a Treasure or something, and yeah, people argue about that as well. But we did put in
There's always an
we did put it.
argument, Vic. There's
Yeah,
always an
yeah, yeah,
argument.
exactly. So we did put in 2FA for Cake Wallet, and with a bunch of settings. When 2FA should get activated. For example, when you're sending or when you're adding a crypto address to your address book, or when you're changing the password, or whatever, or even just you can lock it up completely. That just to get into the app, you need 2FA. So that makes me feel a little bit better.
Me
You
too.
still need your PIN. You still need your PIN. So it's like two FA. You need your PIN, and then you need your 2FA. So I is it good as a hardware wallet? Probably not. But is it better than just a simple PIN, or better than Face ID, just a Space ID? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I've tweeted about this, and I wish people would do it. Get a YubiKey and put the YubiKey authenticator on another phone or your laptop or something that you'd leave at home or don't use. And whenever you want to send, you also need that YubiKey hardware device to get your 2FA 8-digit code off your YubiKey authenticator. So it just makes it a little more secure.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to look into security more often and be like, more into being their own bank. And I think this definitely makes it easier. It makes people feel better about it. And always being that you're open source, that it's easy to onboard into, you can spend your crypto, have a ball, and swap, do whatever essentially you want to do is in Cake
One-stop
Wallet.
shop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I talk about all the time, a one-stop shop. We need more of that. We need more of that. And again, like, being a part of this industry, we're still extremely early. And that's what I stress to people all the time, is that even like we were just saying 10 years ago, the standard to create a seed phrase, it wasn't even there. It was just in the air at that time. It didn't even exist. And now here we are 10 years later with hundreds of wallets, something like Cake Wallet that's giving you accessibility to your favorite stores, being able to purchase, use your crypto as currency, and be your own bank. So I do think that you need to give things time. You need to be patient, especially Cake Wallet. It just started off for Monero, then it was Bitcoin, then it was Litecoin, then there were swaps, on-ramps, off-ramps, and now CakePay, where you're just kind of like going all for it. What do you picture for the future of Cake Wallet or the future of cryptocurrency in general? Do you feel more peer-to-peer transactions are going to transpire soon?
I think so. So we added Ethereum 2 weeks ago as well. So there's a
Yes,
Ethereum wallet
Ethereum.
and ERC20 tokens also in Cake Wallet. So that seems to be pretty exciting.
It is, definitely. The more the
Yeah,
merrier.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I think what you said is actually absolutely correct. The peer-to-peer nature of crypto has to come back. Even gift
Yes.
cards and yeah, even gift cards and MasterCard, all that. It's great, but ideally in the end, you want people to take Bitcoin or Litecoin or Monero directly and not having to convert it and then, have a circular economy. That would be ideal. But, if in the meantime, if people feel more comfortable, hey, at least I can spend it in the traditional markets, that's fine. I see that as an interim step to getting there. Um, and let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one word why you think crypto is important, what would that be?
Freedom.
Freedom. Okay.
Freedom. That,
So it's,
like, we're oppressed in
yeah,
almost every single way possible. Okay, you could look at money from the banks, right? They shut down your bank account whenever they want. Let's just be real.
right.
If you look at the credit aspect of things, or actual transmitting money, back in February of 2021, a lot of news outlets actually archived the story, but you can still Google it, February of 2021, where the whole interbanking system was down. So if you wanted to send credit card transfers, if you wanted to transfer money overseas, you couldn't do that for 12 hours. And that was trillions and trillions of dollars that was missed out on in transactions. To me, that's something that you never want to run into, that you can't transfer money to your loved ones overseas, or you can't transact credit, period. That's dangerous. Then you have money in general, fiat. We were even discussing it with your coworkers last week, where people see, okay, my balance is the same, that dollar number is the same, but your purchasing power is down over 50%, let's say, since 2020, since they printed 40+% of our money supply that year between 2020 and 2021. So your purchasing power goes down, your ability to spend it goes down, because they don't let you transact the way you want to transact. Cash only goes so far as your hands can take it. And Bitcoin is something you own, can't be taken away from you. It's divisible, finite supply, controlled inflation schedule, no permission, freedom.
Exactly. And for me, it's permissionless. It goes along with freedom as well.
Yeah.
Permissionless is huge. You don't need permission to spend your own money.
Imagine how crazy that concept is. Oh, all this stuff I've worked hard to accumulate that's sitting in your bank. Oh, I'm not even
Right.
allowed to use it? That's insane to me. And then you have,
Exactly.
the other CBDCs that they want to come out with, central bank digital currencies. That's why you need Bitcoin even more. That's why you need the freedom, because you're going to be oppressed to the point where they just simply turn it off right there and then. So it's something
Right.
you have to be concerned about. It's something that I think Bitcoin gives you that freedom to hedge against the control.
Definitely.
So,
100%.
yeah, that's kind of where I come at it from. But Vic, this is an amazing talk. you really educated me a lot on CakePay, about yourself and how technologically savvy you were as a kid. Like, that is absolutely amazing. Kind of pioneering, because a lot of people weren't into all of that stuff. You kind of were really ground level with a lot of it, which I think gave you that good fundamental as to why, like, you should create your own company in tech besides the one you sold, but continuing through crypto and being passionate about it, where you saw, like, okay, Bitcoin, that's it. Like, that is amazing, and this needs to be utilized. And you found Monero, found a use case where you were like, oh, we need that privacy, and then carried it forward to where you have Cake Wallet, where you're just continuously creating, and you have great team members as well. So shout out to your team members that are global.
Yeah, definitely.
And they work so hard.
Oh yeah, definitely. I couldn't do any of this without my team. I mean, they're just awesome people. And they're always learning. Like in this industry or any industry, you just need to be always learning. And then my team is always learning, and they're just fantastic. And our support staff, we have 24. That's another thing. We have 24-hour support, right? What other wallet has that? Yeah, you can reach somebody pretty much 24 hours, 7 days a week in Cake Wallet. And initially when we launched, it was me, one tech person, and first person I hired after that was a support staff, because I wanted people to know this is just not an application somebody threw on the App Store. And is it dead? Is it live? Is anyone using it? Is anyone behind it? I wanted people to know there's somebody here. There's somebody here that will hold your hand and help you out if things go wrong. And now we're up to, I think, 5-6 people in the support team, 24 hours a day.
That's a lot of people for support.
Yeah, because crypto's scary when something doesn't get sent, or like I remember personally in 2013 when I sent my first Bitcoin and it didn't show up in my other wallet. I did a small test. I was like, oh my god, yeah, this doesn't work. This is bullshit, So it showed up eventually, but but I didn't want people to have that same fear. They could reach out, and pretty soon we're going to put chat support right in the app.
That's
so
great.
You'll be able to chat with somebody live all the time. Something goes wrong with CakePay or receiving crypto or buying or on ramp or off ramp or selling. You can talk to somebody and somebody will help you. So we never talk about the support team that much. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Yeah. They
Yay,
deserve
support!
a round of applause. And the tech
awesome.
team's amazing. Our management team, which is me and Justin. Justin's amazing.
Shouts to Justin. Yeah, we've done Twitter Spaces together as well, so he's really cool. Like, the whole team is really cool. We all were vibing on Twitter Spaces when we did that. I mean, X Spaces nowadays. Oopsie. But I do think that the future of crypto is bright. I think everyone really enjoyed the show as well, because they're interested in self-custody. Everyone in the chat even says it all the time, like, be your own bank. Why are we playing games? And I think you actually having support makes it more comfortable for the average person to discover Cake Wallet and be like, oh, okay, now if I have trouble, like, I can ask a question. Because usually you come into crypto and the whole thing is, being self-sovereign, being your own bank, that sometimes we forget that we do need to help people out once in a while, and that we can't just sometimes throw things up and expect people to just have all the things figured out. So I do think you giving people that opportunity to come to you and be like, hey, can you help me out really quick, is something that people are really going to find useful, especially when we have that next wave of people coming into crypto, which is soon, guys, soon. Yeah. Don't lack on it.
Not today, it seems like.
Not today with the current dip. We're not looking at those charts today. We're just going to ignore that really quick, so we're not stressed out.
Good opportunity to buy, right?
Listen.
Buy the dip.
Buying the dip. Some people, people sleep. People slept at 15K. They're like, oh my gosh, we're going down. And then look what happened. We're up 70, 80% for the new year. So you really can't complain. I always say have a bullish, bearish case scenario, dollar cost average, buy periodically, whatever fits for you. Have a bullish and a bearish case scenario. That's it. Guys, if you have some crypto on an exchange, you need to be your own bank. Withdraw your crypto from the exchanges. If you don't plan on selling it at that moment, you want to hodl. If you say tomorrow, if that exchange shuts down, my heart is broken, I lost a lot, that meant a lot to me, take it off the exchange. You could always send it back. Download Cake Wallet, cakewallet.com in the live chat, also in the description. Vic, is there any last words you would like to share with the audience? A message from your heart. It could be about tech. It could be about growing up and just experiencing steel. Whatever you feel, whatever on your heart, share with everyone, and also share where everyone can find you.
Yeah, so I always give this general knowledge or general advice. I don't know if it's knowledge. Don't overthink stuff. Just do it. Just get into it and do it, and you'll learn. You can't know everything before you get into something. There's all, every subject goes so deep. So just do it. Just get into it. Do it. If you want to buy crypto, don't think about it. You're not going to learn everything. Just download a wallet. Doesn't have to be cake. And I even promote my competitors. Other people in the Monero world. Hey, if you don't want to use my wallet, that's fine. Use another wallet, but use it. Download it, transfer crypto there, try it out, use it, and you will learn. It's not that hard.
It's not.
And that's general life advice as well. Just Nike, just do it. I'm stealing their logo here, their slogan here. Just do it.
Check. Just do it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you can get me on Twitter. It's my first full name, Vikrant NYC. Or if you send a message to @CakeWallet and say it's for me, they'll send it to me. I check that once in a while still. Where else? Go to cakewallet.com, vic@cakewallet.com. Yeah, go to our Telegram, Cake Wallet community, and I'm always on there. You can chat with me there if you want.
Awesome.
Or Matrix. I'm all over the place. I'm like on everything.
Yo, you gotta be nowadays. You gotta be everywhere. Yeah. So friends in the chat, cakewallet.com, twitter.com or x.com/VikrantNYC, and x.com/cakewallet. Please follow them on their main Twitter as well. They always post updates as to what they're doing and what's going on with the wallet. So please check all that out. All these links that are in the live chat are also in the description as well. So don't worry, my friends. If you didn't catch that link, it's all sitting there waiting for you. Thank you for the super chats and the contributions, the likes, the comments. I appreciate it. Go for it.
Can I give an incentive for people to follow me?
Yes.
I give away crypto almost on a daily basis.
He does. Yeah. It varies too. Everything you give away.
Yeah, I'll give away. Usually it's Monero, but I'll give away Bitcoin, Litecoin here and there as well. So yeah, follow me. We should do I was just talking to Yesenia earlier. We should do a giveaway soon.
Yeah, we did. Giveaways are fun. We recently did one. If you guys missed that, for the Litecoin halving, we ended it on the day of the Litecoin halving, 2 Litecoin giveaway. It was really amazing, and the community just really popped out for it. And I think that's great to do for the community. Just give away and spread that adoption. I think it's another way to spread adoption is just to give things away. And even can't believe we forgot to bring this up. Your feature where you could put your Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Monero address in your pinned tweet or your bio, and you could send through CakePay.
X has killed it. Sorry, X has killed that.
Are you kidding?
Twitter, yeah, they've done something to their API, so that's not working anymore.
No way. I'm sorry.
Feature. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, so we had this feature. You could send crypto just using your Twitter handle. If you put in a crypto address in your pinned tweet or bio, as you were just saying, and it's not working anymore because the API is not returning any. The API is not returning any info. So I don't know if they did that intentionally or
I know people are. I think. All right, I guess we got to do more research on that because I'm not sure if it's still possible, but I know some people are using APIs. So we could talk about it, but I do think that everything that goes on with Cake Wallet and CakePay is great for adoption, and it's stuff that we honestly need to pay attention more to. So again, if you haven't yet, get your crypto off of the exchanges, be your own bank, and make sure to follow Vic on Twitter for his giveaways. Follow Cake Wallet for their giveaways, cakewallet.com if you want to look more into the wallet or possibly download it. All of that is there for you. And thank you for all the love for the stream. If you haven't yet, smash these likes, subscribe, share the stream out with friends. Comment when this is over if you like Cake Wallet, if you like CakePay, and how you see the future of crypto going. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Vic. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Stay zesty, friends. Peace.